Thankfulness is when your appreciation of life relishes in the thoroughness of the journey. The thoroughness of the journey. So we are 2 days away from the 2016 presidential election, or the general elections, period. And there's a thoroughness of the journey. The thoroughness of the journey includes healing. And as frustrated as we all may be with what's going on, I am so thankful. Oh my God, I cannot tell you how thankful I am, because you can't heal what you don't feel. You can't heal what you don't feel. And for us to get out of denial, to just get out of denial and to feel it all, we have an opportunity to do some real healing. But that's not going to be over in 48 hours. The election, yes. The journey, no. Listen to what I'm saying. The journey goes on. And there is a thoroughness of the journey. Part of the thoroughness of the journey is healing. Is healing. I've been doing these sessions for such a time as this. It's on a YouTube channel now, the archives of it. And I noticed somewhere about halfway in the session last week, there was a young man in the back of the room. I'm not even sure when he exactly came into the room. Thought I'd seen his face before somewhere, but couldn't exactly place it where. And he came up to me afterwards, and he was in tears. I don't know, Peggy maybe be mid-30s or something like that. He's in tears. And he says, "I'm so scared." He said, "I just needed to be near you." He said, "I just needed to be around a voice of reason." I was so touched. He said, "I just needed to come here." He was just sitting in the lobby, and somebody noticed him. He just needed to be here. And he looked me in the eye and he said, "I'm so afraid." He says, it feels like a civil war. And I just put my hands around his neck and looked up at him, 6-footer maybe. And I said, "I'm not going to lie to you." I said, energetically, this is probably the closest thing to a civil war I've ever experienced in my lifetime. And he just kind of took a deep breath. It was that, oh no, but that sigh of relief when you know you're not crazy. You know, so he was able to like breathe that in a little more. And I said, and this is not the time to fear. I said, this is not the time to fear. And I said, you got to take a real deep breath here. And whatever that is that you really believe deep down in your heart, you got to stand on it, my brother. You got to stand on it. You got to stand in it with all the love that you can possibly muster up. With all of the love that you can possibly muster up. The divisiveness that we are experiencing now is not new. It is not new. If you were to take an overlay of the maps of the past few elections and lay them over the patterns 150 years ago, you would see the same thing. This is not new. And listen to what I am saying. It is not, will the real America stand up? Because it's all the real America. And this one side kind of saying, well, we're the real Americans. Forget you over here. No, we're the real Americans. Forget. No. It's everybody. It's everybody. We got to move from the we won to we're one. This ain't about we won. We're one. We're one. It just amazes me how divisive people are about divisiveness. How much separation people are getting into about separation. You become what you don't forgive. You become what you don't forget. You become what you don't forget. You act like a terrorist in response to terrorism. You become what you don't forgive. This is where the cycles of abuse come from, yes? Hurt people hurt people. You show me a child molester, and I'll show you a molested child. It's not excuses, but I really want you to hear. You become what you don't forgive. It goes like this. Everything is energy. Everything is energy. And like vibrations are attracting each other. It doesn't matter whether you love it or you hate it. It is the intensity of your energy about it. It doesn't matter whether you love it or you hate it. If it is the focal point of your attention, you are resonating with it. So you become part of the manifestations of whatever it is that has your attention. This is how we wind up manifesting and becoming the very things that we say we don't want because we're so busy being it. It's no mistake when the big busts come that it's always the preachers that are hollering the most about sin. They're the ones literally caught with their pants down. It's always the politicians that are the biggest one about family values and blah, 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 who are the first ones caught in the scandals. Yes? We have an unprecedented opportunity here to dig deep. We have an unprecedented opportunity here to break through. We have an unprecedented opportunity here to really begin a new kind of revolution. We have not gone awry. We haven't started yet. We haven't gone awry. We have not. And for all this stuff about going back to what the founding fathers, I don't think so. Even the people who are saying that don't want that. If you go home and you Google the U.S. Constitution, like the original U.S. Constitution, I am not kidding you. It has a little bitty preamble about towards a more perfect union, and these beautiful words about justice and prosperity. And then there's Article 1, one sentence, two maybe, about how we're going to have a Congress that's going to represent. Next article, how the power is going to be appropriated. How are the people who are in this Congress going to get elected? Those who are free and going to be free, meaning the white people who were indentured servants, who were free and going to be free, you get one vote. Native, nothing. All other persons, 3/5, which meant the people who weren't free and were never gonna be free, and guess who they were? This is the second sentence of the Constitution. A land that was already built on the premise and the assumption that some people are free and some people are never gonna be free, but can still be counted for representation. They don't vote, they don't have any power, but somebody else is going to have power because they have control over them. We're still doing this today with the voting rights. We're still doing it today. We're saying certain people can't vote, but yet there are representatives that have political power representing them. The irony here is that the United States wrote the manifesto. That Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all are created equal and endowed by their Creator with the inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That has inspired democracies all over the world. And in spite of the fact that Thomas Jefferson, who wrote that had 200 slaves, what the old folks used to say, the truth will be told even if it takes a liar to tell it. There's truth in these words. The fact that we have not lived up to them yet should not be a discouragement. It should be a call up. The fact that we have not lived up to it should not be discouragement. It should be a beacon light that says, come on up a little bit higher. Come on up a little bit higher. What is incumbent upon us now is for us to say that we really want a world that works for everyone. We really want a land of the free and the just. We really want for every single person to be endowed with their Creator with inalienable rights. It hasn't happened yet. Listen to what I am saying. It hasn't happened yet. We never ended slavery. We freed some slaves, but we never ended slavery. Look at the 13th Amendment. There should not be involuntary servitude but unless you're a criminal. There's a movie out now, 13th, that speaks of it, unless you're a criminal. And we immediately went from slavery to the chain gangs, and you can see the imprisonment now. And not within our jurisdiction, but it's okay to export it. Let's not put our head in the sand anymore. 8 years ago, we talked about, we were post-racist. Because we elected a black man. There wasn't no racism in the United States. We can break through, but we can't break through without love in our hearts. We can't break through without forgiveness. How many conversations have I heard amongst people about the division in their own families? Yes? Any divisions in families around here? This isn't just a nation. And I don't know if I've ever seen kind of like a clear demarcation line that all ain't just about elections. It's going to be interesting Thanksgiving dinner this year. The holiday is going to be real interesting. But what I know is if we can meet this opportunity with gratitude, listen to what I'm saying. If we can say thank you for this place that we are in the journey, and really hear, really listen to each other, really have a place of compassion, really have a feeling in our hearts that we can set the intent. We have to retrofit the foundation. See, we had these great ideals, but the infrastructure was only built for a small segment of the population. So every time we try to include somebody else under the umbrella, it's like, it's like we're stretching and stretching and stretching. You can't put new wine into old skins. We need a new infrastructure of the heart so that we are not piecemealing it. Okay, well, this year, it's going to be the immigrants, and now it's the gay people, and what's happening with the black folks over here, and we got Muslims, huh? Okay, no. And those of us who are working all these important issues, the environment, all of it, not siloed, one by one by one, but let's say we're all going through, baby. Pull all of our resources together and say we are all going through. No one left behind. Do you hear me? And that includes the people you don't like. Jesus said, love your enemies and love your neighbors. We forget about the enemy part. You love everybody. Everybody. And I guarantee you, if you will go through these next few days with a sense of thankfulness and gratitude for the engagement, thankfulness and gratitude that the stuff is up to be healed, thankfulness and gratitude for the conversations. I'm just so happy we're not in apathy anymore. Social media is over the top, but if I had to choose over the top or apathy, I'd go over the top. Over the top, you can tone down a little bit. Apathy, that's hard to heat up. Don't demonize. Don't other. It's the othering that's got us into trouble now. And take a deep breath in what I'm going to say. The big issue we have to face is supremacy on all fronts. But if you're looking down at your nose at other people for being backwards or stupid or whatever, or you can't say you're one with them, you're standing in supremacy. I'm too good to consider myself one with you. I'm just saying. We need to get over it. We need to get over it. Nobody is any better than anybody else. Christians are not better than Muslims. Documented citizens are not better than undocumented citizens. Nobody's better. We are all equal. There is a place for all of us if we have the heart for it. Do you have the heart? Do you have the intent for wholeness? Do you really? I mean, really? Really? Okay? Think about your social media stuff. Think about those memes you're sending out. Think about those texts. Think about your Facebook. Really? Really? Okay? Because I'm asking you now. Because I contend, just like Martin Luther King did years ago, he said the problem is not the racists. The problems are the moderates and how lukewarm they are. He said that's the problem here. And it's the same problem now. Our real problem are not the people who are the extremists on the right or the left. It's the ones in the middle. It's the ones in the middle. Do you really believe? Do you really, really believe? And can you stand in that? Can you stand in that? I'm going to end on this little story. I know I've told it before, but it just struck me so deeply. It's when we first did shock and awe after 9/11. And we just started bombing the heck out of Iraq for 3 weeks. You become what you don't forget. Okay? We're bombing Iraq, right? And Rumsfeld is being vetted again for George W. He had been with his father's cabinet. He's being vetted again for being the defense secretary. And it was some town hall meeting or somewhere, and I don't even remember where I was, because I was looking at this town hall meeting on television in a hotel somewhere. And I was listening to how unwavering these folks were in being so sure that this bombing was the right thing to do. They had no doubt whatsoever. And it really struck me. And I heard my spirit voice give me that formula again that Jesus spoke about in the Bible. If you have faith and do not doubt, whatever you ask shall happen. And that spirit voice said, their belief that war really is the answer is stronger than the belief of those of you who say you believe in peace, really believe that peace is the answer. He says you're hoping for it, you're wishing on it, but you don't really believe it's going to happen because you think the other people have more power. It's like on your wish list. But you don't really believe it. And this line I will never forget, it said, Reverend daughter, they have outfaithed you. They have outfaithed you. That their faith in war is more than your faith in peace. Okay. I'm not talking about a battle here. I'm not talking about duking it out. What I am saying is pump up the volume on your beliefs. Pump it up. resonate with it so loud that it has a frequency, that it has a vibration that lifts everybody up. Pump it up. Now is not the time to cower. Now is not the time to fear. Now is not the time to get into worry. If you really have an idea of a new heaven and a new earth, if you really have an idea of the beloved community, see that and nothing else. Where no is not an answer. Where everything else are like kids running around throwing a temper tantrum, but you got to be the adult in the family and say, baby, this is how it's going to be. Now, I don't care what drama you're going to do, but at the end of this drama, we're going over here. Stand. Stand in what you know. And be grateful for the power, the privilege, the freedom to stand there. Breathe. Breathe. We've already prayed, but I just feel like I need to seal this. Oh, as we pray, standing on everything that is holy, create in us a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within us, so that we walk hand in hand. Hand in hand. That the vision that we have is hand in hand. Like King's end of his I have a dream speech. Where he said, I see the little black kids and little white kids hand in hand. Oh, that was revolutionary. No othering. No othering. No othering. Only one of us here. And so it is.